Hey there, Body Rockers. Welcome back. Today is day 19. Day 19. 2 more days left. And today we're focusing on mobility. That means we're going to get your body moving.
Moving in that kind of calm, long muscle.
I don't know calm.
Yeah.
I don't know calm.
Even before I just started rolling, I was like, okay, demeanor.
Calm. She's like,
bring it down.
She's like, you're at an 8. I need you at like a 2.
No, you're at an 11. We need you down here.
I'm always floating around at an 8 or 9.
Yeah, you
like,
are.
So.
But like steady.
Anything below 5, and it's just no. I might as well be asleep. Okay, we got the new year coming. I'll speak like this. We've got the new year coming. A great time to set resolutions. I know that some of us think it shouldn't just be on New Year's, and I agree. I'm all about resetting throughout the year. But for those of you that need the excuse, let's resolve to do something for ourselves. Do you have a resolution?
Yeah, I have a few.
A few? Can we talk about them?
Yeah,
that seemed very mysterious. Like I almost wanted to sound like like outside of the bedroom resolution.
Yes, I need to drink more water. Like
That's
we
a good
all
one.
do.
That's
We're
a good
all
one.
so dehydrated. I want to become a winter runner for the first time ever. I've never
You always run.
I know, but I've never actually consistently been a winter runner.
Like every day?
Well, I mean, like, keep my training going through the winter.
I know how this is gonna go. There's gonna be like red flags. Dave's gonna say like, Jessie went out for a run an hour ago. I cannot find her. I cannot find.
I'm gonna come back like, oh God,
mangled.
I should have bought those winter running.
Please just let me know before you go. Okay,
What about you?
my resolution.
Those are so boring, by the way. Drink more water and run in the snow.
No, drink more water is one of mine because like I said before, I notice a huge change in my skin and my energy level when I just drink more water.
Yeah.
When I drink more water. So that's fine.
And?
I'll do that with you. And making the time. Making the time for me. I'm always busy. Anyone who knows me knows this. I'm always going at 100 miles an hour in a 50 zone, and I'm always wearing multiple hats, doing 20 things at once, and they're always for other people. So my resolution is to make time for me. And that could be something as simple as like turning my phone on silent while I have a coffee. It takes 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Finding the time. It could be something as simple as running a bath after I finish bathing my sometimes really dirty children for myself. It could be something as simple as going to sleep when there's so many other things that I could be doing, shutting it down, and just taking the time to reset. Mm-hmm. So that's mine. That's a big one for me.
Actually, that's another one for me too.
That's
Just
a big
like
one.
Reflection time. Journaling.
I always say journaling.
Second.
Always say journaling. I have journals under my mattress. Blank. Don't go. Don't look. No, not blank. The first 5 days are filled in, and I'm so optimistic, and then it's like crickets.
What happened the rest of the year?
I don't know. Someone needed something.
That would be a good design for a journal.
Something needed
actually.
something.
I bet so many people are like that. Like the first 5 days, we should just do
5 days.
January 1 to 5, 2020. January 1 to 5, 2001. 21, yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
So.
And I have one more. Less alcohol. Not that I'm a boozer.
Yeah, that does make you sound like a boozer.
No, I'm not a boozer. I'm not a boozer at all. I'll explain. So my body cannot properly process alcohol, so I should be having little to none, and I should be only having distilled alcohols. And I really love red wine. We talked about this before. I discovered chilled red wine this past summer. So less red wine, because I love red wine. And even a glass sometimes is too much. Anyways, we'd love to hear about your resolution.
Yeah, I want to hear what you guys are going to do, because give us some ideas.
Yeah, we're chatty catties and we talk way too much, and we're supposed to be moving. Chatty patties, sassies.
You can make it up, it's fine.
We're just chatty. Yeah. Okay, let's move. We are going to work you. Where are we starting?
So it's mobility days, so that means 1 minute, sometimes static. Those are static holds, or sometimes dynamic. So slow movements within a pattern of moves.
Yeah, we talk with our hands a lot. I noticed this.
I know. I'm so glad.
Okay, let's
So
go
we're gonna get
down.
started. We're starting with one you all know because we've done it throughout this series. It's the cat cow. So on all fours, those wrists below the shoulders and those knees below the hips. And then pushing through those palms, depressing the shoulders so you don't want to have them up around your ears. You want to push them down, lengthening that front line, reversing it, go at your own tempo. Just really try and feel an increase in mobility, okay?
The goal here is to try to bring some mobility to areas of your spine that maybe otherwise aren't so mobile. You know, how often do you get to bend and stretch in this way? You'll notice as Jessie comes up into the scared cat position, she really pushes her shoulder blades away from each other, rounding through her back. And as she sinks, she's not sinking through the chest, but flaring her sit bone at the back of her body. It feels so good if we do it right. Okay?
All right, now, forearm stretch. So we're gonna stay in that position and we're just gonna reverse the hands. So point them towards you. You're probably gonna feel it right away because I feel like nobody stretches their forearms. So again, those knees are directly under the hips and you're just gonna move in it. You can kind of move all the way around, kind of 360 from the wrist joint, but just nice and gentle. No pain, absolutely no pain. Or you can kind of just come back.
Some of you double jointed folks out there might be able to get all the way up to your fingers. And if you can, think of peeling them all the way off the ground. It feels really nice. It goes all the way to the tips of the fingers and pulls all the way up through the forearm. And this especially is nice after a day of gripping dumbbells, okay?
Yes. You should include this in your static stretches after holding weight. Like if you're gripping anything, you should have just as simple as kind of like pulling back like that while you're standing.
Okay, we're gonna come down to the side of our bodies. Extend one arm long, take your ear to that shoulder and act like a pillow. Then the opposite arm, we're gonna take it out in front of us. Send it all the way overhead, keep it nice and close. Nice big circle as we open up through that chest. So we're just windmilling that arm up and around. Really think of opening up the chest as we send that arm behind you. And if you're working out with someone, try not to hit them in the face. Whoa!
So here we're really mobilizing that shoulder joint.
Try to keep
as you get above your head, you're gonna wanna turn that palm up.
Don't worry, we'll hit the other side as well.
Staying here for another 15 seconds. So go slow with it, breathe. Engage that core. Slow movement because we don't want to be wobbling.
That one was closed.
Feel like you're wobbling?
No, that your hand came really close.
Oh,
to the
sorry.
thing. I thought it was like your backhand. No, okay. Okay, so we're gonna take it over to the other side, just like so. Cross. Okay. Remember, you want to get your ear all the way down to that bicep, a nice long line through the spine. Your neutral spine helps to really activate the proper muscle groups. You're not hanging out in any joints or ligaments. You're not compensating with anything. We're really just focusing on opening up that chest and we're rotating through that shoulder girdle. If you have any shoulder impingements and this one isn't working for you or the range of motion is too big, just go within your own range of motion. Stay in a safe zone. Chances are, if you are seeing someone for your shoulders, you know already what you can and can't do, okay? So pay attention to your own limitations. If you'd like, you can also switch directions, go down, up, and around, whatever feels great, especially if you're working with an injury. Feels so nice.
Last one. All right, so that's right and left. Now, we're gonna come down onto our backs. Oh, sorry, we're gonna come, up to tailbone, Tammy. So sitting on those seat bones, you're gonna bring those feet nice and close to your body, not too close. You'll know your spacing once you get into it. You're gonna hug underneath those knees. So make a nice cozy cave for yourself and then drop your head slowly so you can feel that spine kind of make a nice curvature.
Round your back. Okay, so let's give them another option. You can also take your hands over the top of those shins. Hug it close, hug your heels nice and close, and really think of rounding through the back. Or rounding around a big ball. Think of wrapping yourself around the outside of the yoga ball. Really creating space through the vertebrae of the spine.
Oh, that was too fast. I like that one.
Yeah, it felt so nice, didn't it?
It does.
Okay.
All right, next one. So we're gonna do just that back line. So a lot of the time, that back line is very tight, and it's really hard to kind of stretch it out or lengthen it when we're doing both feet. So we're gonna isolate one side. So make sure that that foot is in line with your hip. You're just gonna walk your hands down. I might go a lot further or a bit further than you can go. Don't worry about it. Just walk your hands down until you feel a little pull, like you're stretching, not to pain.
Really use your breath here. You'll find that the inhalations help you lengthen. And each exhalation helps you get just a little bit deeper into that side bend. Okay? And if you can, eventually we can reach for the ankles or aim to bind your hands around the outside of your feet, bringing the top of your forehead down towards your knees and come all the way back up. We're gonna take it over to the other side. Does that not feel so good? Feels like ice cream.
Another important point is we're trying to keep that knee down. If you need to bend, that's okay. If that's where you're at, put a little bend in it. But ideally, we want to get down to that full, I say always start at this position and then walk your hands down.
If that static hold is way too intense, you can always come on up, take a breath before folding forward again. Remember, inhalation to lengthen, exhalation to come all the way down, deepening through that stretch, feeling the stretch in the belly of the muscle. You never want to feel the stretch at the point of insertion. So what that basically means is never at your joints, always in the longest part of your muscle. Breathe, we're almost there. Another 6 seconds here before we move on.
Good point. So once you're in that stretch and you feel like that's as far as you can go, then practice your breathing within the stretch because it will help release. All right, so now we're gonna come back onto our backs and we're gonna do an IT band stretch. So head to head, head to head. And we're gonna cross right foot over left knee to start. We're gonna weave those hands to the back of that left knee, and then you're gonna make sure that this knee, the crossed knee, is maintaining its 90-degree angle, so you don't want it flopping in towards your body.
Yeah, think about pushing it actively away from you, okay? And that crossed foot, keep a nice flexed ankle so that we're activating the entire posterior chain on that right side as well. One more little quick tip. The lower lumbar tends to roll away from the ground here. Think of lengthening your spine, bringing your tailbone down towards the ground, and you'll feel the nice deep stretch all the way up the lateral aspect of that leg. Okay, take it over to the other side. We're gonna weave through that figure four, so you can bind either on the back of the thigh or on the front of the shins, whatever is accessible for you. Flex that ankle, send your knees away, so many things to check in on, and then melt your tailbone all the way down to the ground, all while breathing. In and out, nice deep inhalations and exhalations.
You can even use this elbow here to hold that knee away. You want to actively kind of push it away, but if you need a little help, that's okay.
Yeah, that knee, we're not happy with it right now. We want it out of our space. Get away from me. Breathe.
Almost there.
This one feels
seconds.
so good.
I love this one.
It makes me like want to close my eyes and curl up. It feels so good. It hits all the sweet spots. It's like, it tastes just like candy.
It does. We're gonna stay in this position. So just stay down, but we're gonna cross that right leg. We're gonna give that left leg a break. So cross the right leg back over. We're gonna do some glute bridges. So bringing those hips up, but not hyperextending. Again, keeping that knee out. And then you're gonna come to the top and stop the momentum by engaging those glutes. So we're isolating. I think we've done this before.
We have. The same principles apply, okay? We want to keep your ankle flexed. We want to make sure we're pushing that right knee away from us, so we're not letting it go up towards the ceiling. We're actively pushing through the heel of the planted left foot. So think of floating your toes up. They don't actually have to leave the ground, but that's the intention we're setting. And then your shoulder blades are nice and wide, so they're fully connecting with the mat. And if you want a little bit more work, go ahead and reach those hands towards the ceiling, remembering that the least point of contact with the ground forces your core to work a little bit harder. Okay, so at the top of that, our hips are fully extended and we're tapping down. Let's switch over to the other side. Our right heel comes nice and close to the bum. We're flexing the left ankle across that right thigh and then actively pushing that knee away. Here we go. If your arms were up to the other side, try to do the same. I know that from time to time we tend to be stronger on one side of the body, but if you're aware of those indeficiencies or those weaknesses, imbalances, that's the word. Where was that word? Then we can,
in my brain, which is your brain.
Right? We can work on improving them, okay? We know for a fact, for example, that my right knee is weaker than the left, so I'm gonna really try to work on strengthening that right side. Don't favor the left. Keep going. You guys are doing a great job. I love mobility day.
8 seconds. Get up to the top, hold, last one.
And take it down.
All right, now we're gonna come up. Or is there hair stuff to do?
That would be really funny, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it if our ponytails were combined?
Slide when they go melted into one.
It would make sense. Like trolls with their ponytails.
Yes,
Yeah.
I like that. Awesome. All right, 45 degrees. So we're gonna step out. We taught you this last episode in lunge. So we're gonna step right out, come down into that proper lunge, adjust your spacing. Once you're here, rotate. We're gonna first engage that core, sitting up nice and tall, imagining a string pulling from the top of your head, and then turn.
So take a quick look here. Notice Jessie's knees stacked directly over her heel. And then from the top, head, shoulder, rib cage, and hips are stacked, okay? So that back knee is a little bit further extended. We're doing that on purpose for this one because we want to feel a little bit more of a stretch through that back quad. We talked about this before. When we're rotating,
You guys are doing that.
we want to rotate from the thoracic. So nice big exhalation as we rotate, everything coming from the shoulders. So let your head lead, okay? So I'm going to take it over to the other side. Drop down, exhale, and we're rotating across that forward bend knee always. Come back to center, lift,
Same here.
lower, big exhale, rotate. So we're not trying to rotate from the lower lumbar. Look over your shoulder, then let your shoulders follow, then let your rib cage follow. It's a really good way of looking at it. Big exhale, rotate.
You want to find that center of gravity because you're going to start to weaken a bit, fatigue I should say, and you're going to start to get a bit wobbly. So you really want to ground yourself through the feet and then focus. It's so impressive and so surprising how if you think it, it happens. So mentally get yourself centered.
And one quick tip for lunges specifically, if you find that you're having a hard time balancing, walk your feet a little bit wider, okay? So it does not necessarily have to be narrow or hip distance apart. You can go wider for a lunge, like so. Okay, what do we got next, Jess?
All right, now we're going that deep front lunge. So we're going into the front, we're staying here again, and we're just gonna work on those hip flexors. So a different focus this time. We're not rotating, we're just coming down and getting a nice stretch in that front line.
Just as I mentioned, if you need to take those legs wider in order to stay balanced between your two planted feet, you can walk them wider, okay? Make sure that front knee does not go past the toe. Always
So your
retain that principle.
Your quads, I was just gonna say my quads.
Are on fire.
Up high
Are
up.
on fire.
So notice we stayed on that one right side, now we're gonna go left side.
Really burning it out.
So nice wide stance, and then just dropping, keeping that straight leg at the back, as straight as you can. You wanna feel a pull in your hip flexors here in this front line. So if you sit for work, you're in this shape all the time. So the hip flexors become, imagine them like elastics, and they get really, really tight.
They get shortened.
We want and shortened. Yeah, we want to try and lengthen that out. And there's many different ways to do that. But this way we're isolating and we're also moving it, so it's not so static and painful for some people.
Really trying to lengthen that front fascia line. Here we go. 11 more seconds here. It would have been nicer if I said 10, I know.
Doesn't always have have to be.
Woo, okay, last one. Woo. Oh, that felt so good.
Now we're gonna come down to our knees. We're gonna take it one step further. We're gonna do the entire front line in a static hold, if you can. So reaching back, so rounding that shoulder one side, rounding the other side, grabbing your heels, bow chest, up to the sky.
You'll notice the tops of Jesse's feet are flat on the mat. If you don't have that mobility through your ankle crease, you can always tuck your toes under, which decreases the distance away from your hand and your heel. Think of reaching your chest up towards the ceiling and then let your gaze go up.
You can always come out and release, but you really want to just think about that deep front line of fascia that we talked about in the 101. And we're just trying to kind of lengthen everything in that front deep line.
Keep sending your hips forward.
So a progression to this might be like a bridge where you come up before you do a kick over. We'll get there.
Okay, now we're flipping it over. Opposite side of the body gets a stretch out. Tops of your feet, let them go flat for this one if you can. And then we're pushing all the way back. Grip your hands into the ground, push the mat away from you. Try to get your sit bones all the way down to your bum. If you have the mobility, walk your knees wide, get your heart all the way down. Rock from side to side, create space. Keep actively pushing into the palms. I know this looks like a relaxation, but you are active. Push into the palms, keep reaching your sit bones down towards your heels. Keep breathing.
If it's too much, you're feeling too much pain in the shoulders or the chest, just bring it up, release, and then come back down.
Or you can skip the arms and take them all alongside your feet, forehead down on the ground. Okay, plant those hands, come all the way up. Okay, from here we're going into frog stretch. Starting with your hands below your shoulders, we're going to flip your feet so the inside arches are down on your mat. Walk your knees nice and wide. For some of you, this is enough. If that's enough, that's fine, stay here. For others, let's push into the palms and really push those hips back down towards your heels. Find what works for you. Sometimes that deep static hold is too much, so if you need to jostle in and out of it a little bit, that might be what you're doing today. If you want to go deeper still, walk your forearms down to the ground and then push backwards.
Create a nice space with your hands. I walk mine out a little bit where I can have support throughout the entire range of motion. If my hands are too close, I'm kind of not supporting directly under my shoulders at the finishing point.
This is kind of intense.
It's intense,
yeah. It is so intense. Ow. Okay, this is my favorite. Actually, oh wait, I'm supposed to beat it too. This is my favorite. Okay, so standing, let's walk our feet nice and wide. Keep your toes pointing forward. And then we're gonna fold from the hips. Just let it hang. That's all there is to it. There's no, there's no real method here. So it's weighted. I like to let them hang and rock from side to side. So here, you do whatever works best. We're just thinking of creating space in the vertebrae of the spine. Let it hang down and create space, okay? Reaching the top of your head to the ground. If you can, walk your feet nice and wide. Work to get the top of your head all the way down on your mat. Still swaying from side to side. Nice firmly planted feet on those mats. Really pushing into the balls of each toe and the outside edge of your feet. Woo! Okay, from here, scoot that belly in and curl all the way up. Woo!
That was a much better release than mine. I was like, hey, I'm out of that.
Okay, all right, next. We've got a 45-degree lunge with a rotation. Oh no, we did that right that time.
Yeah, so we're doing lateral movement. So we're gonna step out. I'm gonna come a little bit behind him so you can see us both. We're gonna step out to the right, and we're gonna do a lateral lunge on that right side. So remember, I'm cueing this. We're not bringing that knee over toe. We're gonna push those hips back. We're gonna sink down in it and come back to neutral because we're isolating that one side. At the same time, we want a nice stretch in the inside of that left leg.
So you might notice that some of you, when you come down into this position, it automatically folds your chest forward. If you're really tight in your front fascial sling, then you're not able to stay down with your knees bent and keep your chest up, right? It's an elastic band. There's only so much give. So if this knee is bent and this is completely lengthened, then my chest wants to fold down. So we need to work on lengthening that sling. That's a quick tip.
Other side.
Okay, other side.
So you can keep that nice wide stance and just fall. Bring that weight to the other side. Nice and controlled. Slow it out, walk your foot out. Make sure you feel a nice stretch on this side. Because remember, mobility day, we're trying to increase the range of motion, lengthen the muscles, so when you go to add that weight or add that resistance, you can add even more weight because your muscle is longer and stronger. 10 seconds, stay here.
Oh, that feels so good. I'm gonna hold it here for the last few seconds. And any of these movements that we're doing, you can always turn it into a static hold, okay?
All right, so it is week 4, and we're almost done. So we're gonna challenge you to a single leg deadlift. So that looks like this. We're gonna do it with no weight, but in a lot of workouts that we might provide you or you might find elsewhere, we're gonna ask you to do this with dumbbells in your hand. So first step, you wanna spread out those toes or make as wide of a base as you can. And then we're obviously hinging, lever style. That back leg does not have to be straight. We're just tipping at the hip, and we're using the glutes on that imbalanced leg to bring yourself back up. So we're lengthening that back line because we're tipping that chest forward. If you need to use something for stability, then definitely keep a chair or a stool, a couch, whatever you have here.
Or you can come up to the toe of that back foot, still focus on the hinge while lengthening that planted foot.
Definitely. So that's called a staggered stance. So that would be in between 2 feet hinge, staggered, and then you could use something and then on your own.
So just as the deadlift, chest is proud, you want to think of sliding your hands down the supporting leg, okay? Quick tip, so we're not opening up through the hip. Keep that moving leg, keep the ankle flexed and your toes pointing down. It helps to maintain nice squared hips. This is my weak side.
Yes, you will find your weak side. Balance is important and it's part of mobility because we use it as a progression sometimes.
Can you see that shakiness happening on this side? Right? Bad ankle, and then it turned into bad knee. Everything, if left unaddressed, turns into a big forest fire. You're in red, and I'm in red.
Last one. Woo. Nice job if you guys could do those, but that's definitely something to work on because it's an easy way to progress other movements. All right, what do we have left? We have
crisscross spin to stand. Okay, so we're gonna slow this one way down. Okay, so we're standing with our legs crisscrossed at first.
You're just gonna cross that right leg over the left.
And we're gonna pivot on the ball of the feet to face the opposite direction and lower all the way down, coming into a reverse crab hold. You can take both hands to the ground here, poke your hips all the way up, and then come back facing the direction you came from. Okay?
So remember we talked about moving in all the planes, front to back, side to side, and then rotation. Sometimes you're going to be provided workouts that require you to rotate your entire body. This is what we're working towards here. So try and keep those feet planted if you can. We did right side over left, now we're going to do left side over right.
Here we go.
Here we go. So spin, nice and controlled, and
I'm popping.
So then come off that one hand. I'm coming off the left hand. Trying to get yourself back up. As we age, Tammy,
You trying to call me old?
No. As we age, this is super important. All of these movements that we're doing, you're gonna have to, believe it or not, at one time in your later life, you're gonna have to practice getting yourself off the floor.
It's true. We do a lot of work with seniors, and sometimes most of our focus is how to get up if you fall. Sounds really simple to some of you because you're not in that headspace, but when you're up there in age and certain functions are lacking and you need to relearn how to get up off the floor, it'll become important. So moving your body in every which way is important because it's one of those things, if you don't use it, you will lose it, right? Okay, we're gonna end on a neck stretch. Talk us through, Mama.
All right, I like to drop that right side. Remember the cueing here, bringing that ear up to the ceiling, not pushing the head down to the floor. Feel the stretch through here. We're gonna roll it down nice and slowly. This should feel good at this point.
I like to reach the opposite arm away from you, increasing that stretch through the lateral aspect of the neck. And for some reason, if I close my eyes, it just feels better. Roll the chin across the chest.
Then we're gonna end, just bring it to the front. Make fat face, kind of double chin face, and then we're gonna drop that head back. Stay with us, nice and gentle, making sure that you're not hyperextending. Hold that chest down.
3,
and release.
2, and 1.
Nice.
We did it.
Mobility day, guys.
I want to jump around and scream, but I'm not allowed to.
That's our last mobility day. Okay, but we did 4 mobility days, but you guys can turn those into 8. You can turn them into 12.
You can have it be your morning routine. It can be a morning routine. Every morning you can go in and click yes to mobility with Tammy and Jesse. And then you can go out through the rest of the day and pick whatever workout we have, whether it be strength, whether it be cardio, or double up on mobility on those mobility days.
Yeah,
you
this is one workout where you can plug it into wherever you are.
Yeah, you're the boss.
Even as you progress, you can come back to these. If you're feeling tight, or you're feeling like, oh, that was so easy for me before, and now like I'm stiffening up, or it's been a while, whatever, this you can plug in anytime you want.
You will notice changes. You will notice that if you do this exact same mobility workout again, the next time around, certain things will be easier. Couple reasons, muscle memory, but also you'll be lengthening those fascial lines, and you'll have more movement, more range of motion in them, which is amazing. So like I said, you're the boss of you. Unless we tell you to do something, plug it on every single morning, stretch it out, or make it a couple times a week. Make it a habit. You won't regret it. You'll never, ever, 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 ever regret moving your body more, okay? Unless you hurt yourself. But we're not gonna go there. We're not gonna go there. 2 more days to go. We'll see you tomorrow. I hope you're ready, okay?
I'm excited.
Bye. Can I be 8 now?
8?
8.
Yeah, back to 8.